officers are online now, so we can go ahead and get started. I want to thank you for your patience and understanding with my technical difficulties and getting everybody online here. Once again, it's great to see everybody. So at this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 11:10 a.m. And we this will probably be a shortened meeting today. I know we all have busy schedules and we got lots to get done. And so I'll get started with the welcome and the introductions here. And so for those who don't know, my name is Kimberly Dankop-Bigay. I'm the coordinator for the Native American Education Program here at in Tucson with the Amphitheater Public School District, and I currently sit as the president for the Arizona Indian Education Association. So I want to say welcome to everybody and thank you for taking the time to be here. And how I normally introduce myself is in my tribal language, which is Kiowa. And so I'm just going to quickly do that for everybody. So Kwahat Nawa Hatso and Toya, Goigu Masep Chawina, Oklahoma, Akan, Kimberly Dinkha Bigay Daw. So I just introduced myself, letting you know that I am of the Kiowa, Cattle, and Pawnee Nations from Oklahoma, and that my name is Kimberly Dinkha Bigay. And so again, welcome everyone to our December general meeting for taking the time to be here. So at this time, I'm going to call on our Secretary Jerry, if she could introduce herself and then allow our executive officers to introduce themselves, and then we'll quickly go down the participants list of who's in the meeting today.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Thomas, and I'm the secretary for AIEA, and I'm also at the Intertribal Council of Arizona, leading the Healthy Native Youth program. Thanks for everyone to come here. It's so nice to see everyone's familiar faces. Yay, I'm so glad the semester's over. All right. And then next up, I'll have Jerry Lopez.
Okay, great. I'm Jerry Lopez. I'm faculty here at the U of A and in the School of Animal and Comparative Biomedical Sciences. And I'm also part of the Cooperative Extension program, and I'm a STEM specialist. And so we work with the FERTEP, the Federally Recognized Tribal Extension Program, with our agents and also with the agents in the 15 counties, providing STEM opportunities.
Great, thank you, Jerry.
Sure.
Next up, we have Melody Lopez.
Oh my God, let me see. Melody Lopez, Hopi Navajo and Pueblo. I'm here in Tucson with Indigenous Strategies.
Thank you, Melody. Next up, we have Paul Gianetti.
Morning, everybody. It's Paul from Career Success Dropout Program. We are statewide. We serve in the rural reservation and also Tucson, Phoenix flag. We help kids get back into school who have dropped out of high school. And it's a regular diploma program and everything if they stay with us. But our main goal is to restore that harmony and the community sense of belonging for our young people who want to, maybe they made a mistake, maybe something happened in their life, but they want to get back in and they want to do that. So it's great to see everyone. Happy holidays and glad to be here. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Okay, next up we have Marty Lindsey.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, this is Marty Lindsey. I'm from the University of Arizona, and I am the director of the Community Engagement Corps and do a lot of work with tribal youth and tribal communities.
Great, thank you, Marty.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have John Bastian.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good week. My name is John Bastian. As Jerry mentioned, I work at Rio Salado College as a coordinator of student life activities, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Esther Nystrom.
Morning, connotation knowledge that is my traditional way in Navajo that I am a Navajo woman. I currently am the program coordinator, specialist for the Mesa Public Schools Native American Education Program, and currently hold the office for VP with AIEA. Thank you and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Esther. Next up, we have Monique.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Monique Sosi, and I'm a program analyst with the Intertribal Council of Arizona. So I cover certain aspects of the ITCA work. So it's good to see some familiar faces, Dr. Lindsey too, and thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Lindsay on the line.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Cotton, and I work with Maricopa Community Colleges with the Office of American Indian Outreach.
Thank you, Lindsay, for attending. Okay, Kimberly, that's all.
Click my unmute button. All right, thank you, everybody. And again, welcome to our December general meeting for the Arizona Indian Education Association. Before we get started further, I just want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you as educators and parents, as some of us are even students still going through college and getting our studies completed. But I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for all that everybody does. I know through this past year has been a very challenging time for all of our educators and especially with our natives, working with our native students. And so I know it takes a lot, and there's a long hours that we each do, and even working from home, taking time, to take care of our families. And so thank you, everyone, for everything that you do to ensure that our native students are taken care of, whether that's through providing curriculum, providing activities, providing events, or even just providing encouragement, because they do need to hear that during these times, and especially with the situation that they were forced to get into. And so I just wanted to express that very quickly for all of you who are on the call. And again, thank you so much for being here. So Jerry, if we can move on through the agenda.
Oh, actually, Kim, we have 2 more people that have joined. I'll give a chance for Linan.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. She Linan Yazian, she at what had leaning national though my desk gives me bashes chin, Katnez Ani the Chedo Kia Ani Dashanala. Hi, everybody. My name is Linan Yazi. I am Diné Navajo from Chinle, Arizona, and I'm currently the Native American Specialist for the Phoenix Union High School District. So happy to be here and happy to see you all here. Thanks. Oh, I forgot. I'm also the co-secretary communications person, I guess communications director for AIEA. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Linan. Next up, we have Katie Parker.
Hi, everybody. This is Katie Parker. I am the federal programs coordinator for White River Unified School District. In previous years, I have been a member of AIEA way back in the day. And lately I've just been a bit too busy. But like everyone else, I'm trying to fit in as much as I can where I can. I'd like to rejoin the group and keep on top of our current events with Indian education activities in order to promote our parent advisory council. Just kind of let them know that there's another step, another level of involvement that they can be aware of. And so looking forward to learning more with you.
Thank you, Katie. All right, Kim, that should be all of them.
All right. All right, thank you. Katie, it's so good to see you join us today. It's been some time, and as always, we just always welcome all of our members back and even our new members and potential members. So thank you for joining us today and look forward to your participation back into AIEA. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have our approval of minutes. Jerry, are you able to send that out through the chat or even pull it up on the screen? Okay, so we'll table until the next meeting. And I just need a motion to do that.
This is Lynanne. I move that we table the minutes to be reviewed at the next meeting.
Okay, motion on the floor. Is there a second?
This is Jerry. I'm motion. Second.
Okay, there is a second on the floor, right? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, abstain. All right, motion carried. All right, thank you so much. And we'll get those minutes for you guys and we'll have them at the next meeting. So, and next on the agenda is the president's report. So this is going to be fairly quick also. Let me get my notes out here. I just wanted to update the membership that our nonprofit status report that we submit to the Arizona Commission every year. We got that turned in on time. We didn't have no penalties or anything, so we got it turned in. And so that's every year. Every November is when that report is due. And the other thing that I wanted our membership to know is that it has to do with our credit card transactions that we're trying to accomplish with our camp. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen right away, but it is something we're looking into, and hopefully by the banquet time in February or sometime thereafter, we'll have that squared away on how to do all the information and input to get those accounts set up. But in the meantime, it's asking for some information that our current administration doesn't have available right away. And we've been looking for it since the summertime because we have been trying to get credit card availability for our membership for quite some time now. But with our executive meeting that we held earlier this week, it was decided that we're going to go ahead and apply for another EIN number. This is the number that we need to get these accounts set up under AIEA. So with that comes with the new nonprofit status under our organization. So we're keeping the acronym AIEA. The only thing we're changing is the term Indian, and we're making it Indigenous. But this is just for our IRS reporting purposes only. We are going to continue to use the current name, Arizona Indian Education Association, for as it has always been. But just for the nonprofit status and for the purposes of taxes, that we have to go under a different name. So we didn't want to confuse everybody and have to put that all out there. So just for the purposes of that will just be on our application only. But I did want the membership to know that in order for us to get the credit card availability up and running for us. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the internship, that we have the potential opportunity that we're going to take that opportunity to get another intern for AIEA. This will be through the Phoenix Indian Center. And I am actually going to ask Lynn Ann if you can just provide the membership some a little bit of background on what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Phoenix Indian Center has a youth to work program. It's combined with their Signal Success. And what they're doing is they expose students to the work environment, but they also put them through training to teach them professional work standards, ethics, things like that. And so the students actually go through orientation. They do sign an agreement saying that they, are willing to participate for the number of hours that is offered to them. And so Phoenix Indian Center does this during the break. So they'll do it during winter breaks, spring breaks, summertime. And the idea is, again, just to expose students to the work environment, as well as, getting them that little extra income. So when students are in high school, they are able to earn money on their own. So for the winter break, Phoenix Indian Center has requested, businesses, organizations to host high school age interns. They're all seniors this year. And it's for 2 weeks, 20 hours per week. So a total of 40 work hours over the course of their winter break, the 2 weeks off. And they also are attending different workshops. And that's the reason why it's only 20 hours a week, is because they will be attending different workshops for Phoenix Indian Center to kind of go along and complement their career or the experience that they're having in their workplaces. And so AIEA decided to sponsor one of these high school students, and they will be helping us get ready for the camp throughout the winter camp, which we'll talk about later, and then do kind of the follow-up. So when this was discussed, it was decided that the youth would do some social media marketing for us. Either it's going to be advertising the camp ahead of time, or throughout, giving updates on AIEA's website, and that just gives the student experience with thinking about who your audience is, thinking about what information should go into an organization's post on a social media account. And then we also are going to have them interviewing staff, student, youth participants, elders, and just kind of gather, and the college mentors, and gather their experience throughout the camp. And then, do some interviews afterwards to bring it all together and create some sort of a marketing video for the youth camp for possibly, for years to come, or for camps to come, I should say. And so just giving the students that experience of conducting interviews, developing those questions, and then putting together clips of those answers and responses, and developing some sort of a promotional video for AIEA. So that's kind of what our intern will be doing over the course of those 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to having the students come on, or a student come on board to help us with the camp and with our program. So thank you, Lynn, for that update. Is there any questions so far? Alrighty. Next on the agenda, I wanted to lead into that as well. So as everybody is well aware, we do have a new president that will be coming in January for the country. So Joe Biden will lead the country in next month. He'll be sworn in on January 20th. And with that, he is currently making appointments for his cabinet, the presidential cabinet. And one of the appointments that came out yesterday was exciting and very exciting and great news. And so the new Department of Interior Director that has been selected is Deb Haaland. And Deb Haaland is from New Mexico. She's a legislator with the New Mexico Congress, and she actually just got reelected to another term, but she is of the Pueblo peoples in New Mexico. And so if the Senate confirms her status to be if she's confirmed as the director for the Interior, this is a historical moment for our Native peoples. This is the first time that we will have a Native American at that level to lead the Department of Interior. That's very important because of what we've witnessed and what we've seen over the years through the current administration with the presidential executive orders that have been coming down, especially in regard to the land and environment of our Native peoples and what's been happening. For instance, with the Bears Ears Monument, President Obama had made that or created that as a historic site for our people. And when this new administration came in shortly thereafter, it has been significantly decreased. So that's one of the things that immediately was done. On top of what happened with that, the pipeline situation with the Dakota Access and the Keystone pipelines, they were permitted to move forward, with the drilling and the fracking that they have. So these are a lot of things that are affecting our homelands, traditional homelands for a lot of our indigenous peoples. And so it's been a real devastation for what we've encountered over the past years, and even more that it's still trying to continue on before he actually leaves office. And so with this new appointment with Deb Holland, it's very exciting news for Indian country. And so I just wanted to point that out, that we're looking forward to having her on board. My personal social media has just been blowing up with all the pictures of different people, posting pictures with her after that announcement came out. And so that just shows that she's really involved with the community, and that she takes time to do that personal visitation with you, at any time. And so I know a few of our AIEA officers were able, and probably members as well, were able to meet with her at the recent, well, not recent, but in the springtime during the National Johnson O'Malley Conference that was held there in Washington, D.C. And we even got to take a picture with her too. But so it was really exciting to see that. So I just wanted to bring that to light, and to show how important the importance of her selection. And we're hoping that everything goes well, that she'll be confirmed for that. And so moving on, I have our student opportunity. And with that, I just wanted to highlight that we do have our winter camp coming up. We'll talk more in detail about that later in this meeting. But if you know of any students in grades 7 through 12 that are willing to participate, please share that information with them. All of the information about the winter camp is up on our website under itcaonline.com. And just encourage them to participate with us. We have a lot of exciting activities and events that are going to take place during those 2 days. And so with that, that is all that I have for the president report today. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit short, but I just wanted to inform everybody of what's been happening out there. And again, I just encourage you to keep apprised of a lot of the legislations that are happening and occurring as far as Indian country, because it does directly affect our people, and not only our people, but our students and parents that we directly work with. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that the Arizona legislature will commence on January 11th, I believe. And so just keep apprised of those legislations directly here affecting our people within the state of Arizona as well. So with that, is there any questions? Okay, well, if there's no questions, then we can move on in the agenda. So for our treasurer's report, unfortunately, Travis was unable to be here this morning. He's in a tribal leaders meeting today, and so it happens to run the same time as our meeting, and so he's unable to make this meeting today, but he did send the treasurer's report to us. And so for ITCA, which is our fiscal agent, the expenses out of that account is $46,624.34. For the income, it's $10,410.37. So that's a total of a negative $36,214. And so this is, we're very fortunate that ITCA has provided fiscal support to our AIEA organization over the past 4 to 5 years, and how they've been supportive in allowing us these expenses while we worked out the situation with our PAS account. But that's the report for under the Intertribal Council of Arizona. And the expenses for November, 0.05 for printing. So I think he's saying maybe 5 cents for printing. But we'll get more clarification if there's any questions at our next meeting. Under our desert financial checking, we have $434.86. In the savings account, we have $42,568.30. So that's a total of $43,003.16. There have been no expenses for November. He says if there's any questions, then you can contact him. So are there any questions on that? Or need me to repeat any numbers? We did have all of our scholarship recipients. Those were all paid out last month. And so those are taken care of. Okay, if there's no questions, we can move on in the agenda. And this is just a recap. So we'll start with old business. And this is our Protecting Our Land virtual winter youth camp. So at this time, I am going to turn it over to Jerry.
Okay, welcome everyone. So for our Protecting Our Land camp this year, we decided to convert it to a virtual winter youth camp. Years before when we created the camp, we decided to do it during the summer when students had more time to attend the camp. And then we had an in-person camp, and we had universities, donating their campsites for us to use. And then in that collaboration, we're able to save money, but also generate enough that we would be able to put it towards AIEA, other events that we can hold for students. So this camp is in lieu of the youth conference. Our last youth conference we had was in 2016. And we decided that there was a need for this youth camp where we were able to better personally assist students that were interested in learning about treaties and policy and law regarding protecting their land. During that time in 2016, the No DAPL was a really big movement inside our Native communities, and the students were watching this on TV, and they were wanting to learn more about their land, wanting to learn more about their tribe's policies, and also what they can do in protecting their land, while also, wondering what they can do, not only as youth, but also as those that are going into college. So we decided to hold this youth camp. And this year, because of COVID precautions, we decided to do it into a virtual camp. And then we decided to do winter during this time. We thought it might be suitable for December 28th and 29th. So day 1 and day 2 for the camp to take place. So it is going to be on Zoom. And the registration fee is $40 for non-AIEA affiliated members, and then $20 for AIEA affiliated members. So if you're not a member of AIEA just yet and you want to send some students, if you go on to the ITCA website, right there in front is the membership form. And, just fill it out, and then we accept cash, check, and money order to become part of our organization, and then be able to send your students with that $20 discount. So right now we have 50 available spaces, and we are offering 5 scholarships. And then for the camp staff, ITCA day is going to be day 1, so that 28th on Monday. During this time, ITCA is going to be having a STEM-focused camp day. So they are looking for and collaborating with a lot of professors in the STEM areas, but also, native professors. So those that can speak upon, STEM issues, and then also, those that work professionally. And they are also collaborating with our elders and then college mentors that are going to be facilitating the students in these groups, because if once we do reach that 50 mark, we have 6 to 7 college mentors that are going to be facilitating on both days. So they're going to be looking over the students as they're doing their activities, and also facilitating discussion questions with the presenters that are there. And then also the elders as well, to include that traditional ecological knowledge that the students, that we also want to focus on during our camp. So for December 29th, that Tuesday, is AIEA Day. And then during that time, we're going from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we're going to, early in the morning, we're going to sort of keep it as the camps were before. In the morning, we're going to do a morning run, but also we're going to do a stretch, and also offer prayers as if we are in the in-person camp like last year. And then when we do that, we're going to move on to our introduction. So we're going to introduce ourselves to the students, and then also do an icebreaker activity with the students, so that they get to loosen up and then get to learn about their college mentors that are going to be leading them, but also get together with one another, because during the lunch activity, they're going to be doing a journaling activity, but also they're going to be doing sort of individual talks and walks with each other. So we want them to sort of get together, sort of a buddy system, so that they can not only socialize with another student, but also we want to have that have those discussion questions ready, so that they can sort of critically look at this camp, making sure that they're learning about how to protect their land, also how the camp is going, along with what sort of traditionally ecological knowledge that they would like to see in terms of doing this camp. And then we have also enlisted the help of Clifford Pablo from Ton Otham Community College, and then he's going to be doing a seed activity with the students. So right now we're putting together packages for the students, and we have Clifford Pablo donated some seed packages and some soil. So we have those in baggies that we're going to give to the students. And then also the next activity is going to be with Professor Dr. Patricia Gonzalez from the University of Arizona. And she's going to be doing she's going to be doing a DIY tea activity with them. So they're going to learn about how to make traditional teas for themselves. So I did pick up, and then we do have those baggies for them of individual teas that they're going to be using, rose petals, lavender, and we're going to have them, take a look around their own homes and see what kind of tea that they can make with the kitchen ingredients that they have inside their own kitchens. So Patricia wants them to take a look at inside their cabinets of what sort of herbs and spices that they have inside their cabinets, to see what sort of teas they can make, if they have ginger around, if they have any peppers or anything like that, so that they'll be able to boil that and see, what sort of teas they can make for themselves. And then we also have our elders fire talk activity, just like our in-person activities that we had at the camps before. We want to continue having those the camp elders fire talk, so that they can towards the evening get together with their elders, with the elders that we've invited, and then they're going to talk about winter stories. They're going to talk about stories about how they're in their community, the stories that their tribal ancestors did to protect their land, the winter stories that they can talk about now as the winter season is here, and then also continue to do that facilitation with the college mentors throughout the day. So we do have a flyer And I'm going to quickly exit out really quick so I can put it up inside the chat box. But we do have a flyer already, and it has the registration information. For those program coordinators that would like to send like groups, they can directly contact me. That's my email right there. And then we'll be able to send you a purchase order form so that we can get that process available to you. But yeah, we do have a flyer ready, and it does have the link on there for the registration form. We're doing the Eventbrite to advertise the registration for individual students. So each student has to fill out that Eventbrite form in order to register for the camp. So we need to know their sizes, and especially where we want to ship and location of where we're going to send the packages to. Give me 1 second. But right now, does anyone have any questions so far?
Hey, Jerry, how do they receive the scholarship?
Oh, okay. So in the registration form, we do have a question asking them if they would like to register or if they would like to be considered for a scholarship. So it's sort of on a first come, first serve basis right now, but we will be reviewing the registrations as they come in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, I just uploaded the flyer, so if you have any questions, you can contact me. My email and phone number on there, so if you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay, thank you, Jerry, for that update on our winter camp. We're very excited to see all the students participate and the college mentors and the elders that are helping us out this year again. So it's always an exciting time. So we're looking forward to how that's going to look with our first time trying it as a virtual camp. So it's exciting. So we just encourage our students to sign up and register. We do have slots available for them to participate. All right, so with that, we have next on our agenda is the Educators Banquet. We have this selected for to be held next year, or in a few months anyway, February 27th of 2021. And so that's the date that we set for our Educator Celebration, where we highlight and we recognize 11 people who either are educators themselves or are a part of the academic success for the Native students, whether that's in any capacity, such as a janitor, a food cafeteria worker, a social worker, bus driver, coach, things of that nature, parents even. So if you know of anybody, the nomination form is up on our website. Again, there's a website there on the slide that you see that we are accepting nominations until January 15th. And so I am going to turn it back over to Jerry for her to provide the update for where we're at with this educator celebration.
Yes, so I'm uploading the nomination form right now. As of today, we have received one nomination form for a teacher award. So like we said, we have 11 categories this year, And what we want to do is, since this is going to be a virtual event this year, we are going to sort of extend our deadline that's going to be closer to the event itself. But because, the reviewing process doesn't take too long, but we are looking to fill those 11 category spots. So last year, as we promoted the event and time got closer, we had to, be really creative with how we were going to distribute the categories, because some of the categories at the end weren't filled. So we decided to not only extend the deadline by 1 or 2 weeks, but also we had those we made a new rule that we wanted those that were going to submit a nomination form to also they can mark up to 2 categories. So they would be able, those that were being considered could be considered for 2 categories. So in the end, when we were doing the scoring, we were able to place categories where just about everyone that applied for the nomination was awarded. So, the reason to have this Educators Award celebration is we wanted to recognize American Indian, teachers in Arizona that serve American Indian students. So you can be Native or non-Native, and teachers, we have 3 different teaching awards, 1 to 5 years, and then also 6 to 10 years, and then 6 to 15 years, and then 30 years plus. So it's a really nice award, and also being able to recognize our teachers here in the state of Arizona. Those that might not be, recognized before. We have a few categories that, educators that, are not in the classroom itself, but they do still serve students, bus drivers, nurses, cafeteria workers. We want to be able to recognize those individuals as well that serve students during the time. And then we added an extra award this year called the Resiliency Award. We want to make sure that we especially highlight those individuals that really went above and beyond in serving their students this year, even during the time of COVID, and how resilient they were into continuing to, serve their students despite, COVID and all the changes that we had to encounter, that we were still able to serve the students. So like we said, the deadline is January 15th, and then the form, sorry, I had a little bit of trouble trying to post it, but I'll make sure to include it inside the chat box. And so the form is to be submitted by the deadline of January 15th, and the event date itself is February 27th. And we are organizing the silent auction and also the raffle. And those committee members that are on the line, we will continue doing our weekly meetings next week. Sorry about that. I got busy with the youth camp these last 2 months, but we'll be able to continue our weekly meetings next week. But if you're interested in joining our committee, or you would just like more information about the nomination form or the event itself, you can contact me. There's my email right there, jerry.thomas@itcaonline.com.
Jerry, can you share what the awards are that we're going to be providing?
Yes.
And a little bit about each one, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the document itself, and I'm gonna share it. Share. Okay, can everyone see the document? Okay, so this is the nomination award, the nomination packet. So like we said, the event itself is February 27th, and then the award categories and qualifications are here below for the 11. So we have the categories from 5 to 10 years award, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 15 years, and then 16 plus years. And then we also have the Founder Award. So this is those that serve 30 years plus for American Indian students, serving American Indian students. We also have a Parent Award, so recognizing a parent that supports American Indian students. And then Serving the Community Award. So this award is for after school or a coach, that made significant efforts to provide support to American Indian students. And then also the Unsung Hero Award. So this usually goes to a person that devotes their time and energy to providing a rewarding experience to American Indian students. And, nominating a bus driver, a cafeteria worker, or another unsung hero from your school or district or education program. Next up, we have the Johnson O'Malley Award. This category is specifically designated for those professionals who lead a JOM program, a Title VI program, or an additional support for Native American education programs. And then next is we have the Language Revitalization Award. So, goes towards people that promote and teach tribal languages in any setting. And then the Administrator Award, recognizes principals, superintendents, or other administrators that serve American Indian students. And then lastly, the Resiliency Award, designed for individuals who maintained or advocated for COVID-19 protocols and protecting themselves and their students while continuing their responsibilities. So important dates to know. So the deadline to submit is January 15th, that Friday. And then we want for awardees to be notified by January 29th. And then we also want to know that we want to have the awardees, so those that have been notified, as after they're notified, we want them to submit an award acceptance video or maybe a statement. So we wanted them to submit that by February 12th, just in case, something comes up virtually, like, you lose connection one day, or your audio quality isn't so great. We want you to be able to, share your specific ideas, and, if you want to share out thank yous, or, you want to recognize, people that contributed to your success. We want to know, we want you to be able to have your opportunity to share that and not have, technical issues, come between you doing so. So that's precautionary. So that to be submitted by February 12th. And then all awardees must be virtually present for the celebration event on Saturday, February 27th. Another thing to note that's a little bit of a change is the nominee eligibility requirements. So we just ask that those that have been awarded previously, so last year's Educators Award, we don't want to nominate them again because they already received the award last year. And also, we don't want anyone to nominate themselves. So, this nomination form is to nominate another person. So, you just include general information about the nominee, then also your contact information as the nominator. And then how are you affiliated with the nominee? And then lastly, please specify 1 to 2 nomination categories. So those are the 11 categories there. And then lastly, number 5, why do you believe this individual deserves to be recognized? So these 4 bullet points are sort of what to describe inside, the statement to answer this question, why does this person deserve to be recognized? So we want you to go into describe or list examples of how this individual demonstrated their commitment to American Indian students in the following ways, exemplifies the qualities described in the awards categories, but also exceeds responsibilities or expectations of students and parents and staff. And then, cultural enrichment, and then Indigenous knowledge of the community. So like I said, we only got one that has submitted so far for a teacher award. And the deadline for this program is January 15th. So if you have any questions up above here, you can send it to my email. You can send it through fax at ITCA, or if you have any questions, you can call me and let me know.
This is Katie. I was just checking to see, is there a list where I can look to get the awardees from last year?
I can send you a list for that. If you want to provide me your email below, I can do that. We did send out an email last year, so I can forward you that email. I think it was a press release that we sent out, so I can provide that to you. Yes, so Melody, we are still trying to decide what the prizes are. Last year, we were able, thanks to a donation by the Coyote store in Tucson, we provided as prizes not only a certificate, a paper certificate, but also the Coyote store donated 10 baskets made by Indigenous artists that we gave to the awardees.
All right, is there any other questions? And that's a good point, Katie. We'll try and see if maybe we can put the recipients on our website. I know we've been, the IT person at ITCA has been out sometime off and on with his schedule, but maybe we'll see if we can put a link to past recipients under our banquet link. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, any other questions regarding the banquet? Again, we're looking forward to having that this year. We want to continue that as one of our annual events. This will be our second year that we're going to be holding that celebration. And the reason why we don't want to nominate people in the past who have already received it is because we know there are so many individuals out there who do so much for our Native students and community in helping that academic success succeed. And so we want, a lot of them don't, as Jerry mentioned, don't get that recognition as they should for all the work that they do. And so this is one way that AIEA can recognize those individuals. And we need your help in identifying who they are. So again, we encourage you to please help us spread the word that this nomination packet is out there. And for the nominations, there's plenty of people out there who do so much for us. And so we want to acknowledge them. So if you could just help us spread the word about the nomination form being out there and to nominate those individuals. All right, if there is no other questions, we'll move on in the agenda. Thank you, Jerry. All right, so under new business, the first item is our Office of Indian Education update for the state of Arizona. And I am actually going to turn it over to Lynn Ann. She is the chairperson for our Indian Education advisory council. And so Linan, if you would just provide any updates for that end, and then Melody, if you want to jump in after she's done to update about the strategic planning, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, then those were going to be I have two items, I guess, and one was going to be the strategic planning. So I'll hold off on that, and then Melody can we can transition into Melody's information. The first thing is the Office of Indian Education currently has a position open that they are advertising for the tribal liaison through, actually, it's not through their office directly, it's through the Department of Education, so ADE. And I will find the link to that posting, and I will at some point in the meeting go ahead and post it in the chat as well. So I was asked that we share that information, that there is an opening at that position. They really are wanting to fill that position because what they don't want to happen is, they don't want to say, well, you haven't had somebody in this position for, X amount of time. Therefore, maybe you really don't need that position. So they don't want to lose the ability to fill that position. So I will share that information in the chat. And then they are working on the strategic planning currently, and that entails bringing in, getting feedback and input from various stakeholders, including tribal education departments, specialists, so the coordinators, like program coordinators, parents, students, teachers, so they're gathering all of this feedback, information, input on the strategic plan and how OIE is going to move forward in serving our Native students in Arizona. And so part of that plan is to gather various to create questions, a survey, to send out to various stakeholder groups, and then to receive that information and use that to inform, how to move forward with the strategic plan and what type of information, what type of actions should be included in that. And so this is happening. This has been happening over the last several months and will continue to happen, throughout the rest of this school year. And so part of that process is developing these questions to send out to various stakeholders. And so I will go ahead and turn it over to Melody at this point, as she is assisting with that process. Thank you.
Nice synopsis, Linan. The strategic planning is really interesting because it's really something that's been created so that there's legacy in this way, so it doesn't matter who the superintendent is, it doesn't matter who's in charge of Office of Indian Education. It's really meant to provide a template to anyone who's engaging the Office of Indian Education. As far as stakeholders, just to be specific about it, there has been engagement as far as online engagement and workshops internally in the Arizona Department of Education, which alone was really exciting because that's people you don't usually think of. Everyone from the ADE, IT department, food services, wellness, just everybody, and the division heads. So the people at the very top had to come together and hear and learn about Indian education generally, and then specifically about the history of Office of Indian Ed in Arizona. So that was exciting. Then, of course, the Indian Education Advisory Council that Linan chairs was engaged in a one-time online meeting and then a very extensive survey. I joke, but I'm not kidding. It literally took me probably 2 weeks to fill it out because I really, really wanted to say the right thing. And there were so many in-depth questions that it was really lengthy. And I wanted to make sure when other stakeholders were reached that it wouldn't be that lengthy. So who has been engaged in strategic online meetings has been the tribal education departments had a meeting, and the LEAs, the local education areas. So we had superintendents and principals. When they targeted LEAs, the Office of Indian Ed was really looking for those kind of high density schools, those public schools on or near reservations. So they did do a very targeted search. I was honestly surprised at the huge amount of LEAs we had. And it was it was really heartening. It really felt good to see that kind of interest and engagement from LEAs. So we also had a parent caregiver online meeting, and that was super intense because we had everything from grandmas to we had somebody who was like, literally no joke, he was like outside his sheep corral. And so he was like getting really spotty reception. We had like all kinds of people represented. We had just a huge amount of parent caregivers. And after that meeting, you know, it was discussed in the strategic plan. It's in the document itself. Looking historically, parent caregivers were actually a huge part of why there is an Office of Indian Education, and how they operated back in the 70s and 80s was deeply influenced by parent caregivers. And so that's a huge area for them to examine. Knowing that this was really their first outreach, they want to do a survey for all those people who couldn't attend a 3-hour meeting on a Saturday, you know, because these are not brief meetings. These are very long, fairly intensive meetings. So the IEAC brought together a small group to look at those questions, and then all of those brainstormed questions from several people that are online here were given to the Office of Indian Education to create and send out the survey. And then this coming Monday, we're doing the same thing for students, where the IEAC is going to brainstorm questions and then send them out to students. The last group of stakeholders that were identified for the strategic plan engagement are tribal leaders. And in January, we're going to have that tribal leader meeting. We're actually doing it the week right before legislative days. So, you know, there will be it's going to be a very different approach with tribal leaders. What they're going to get is a lot of the feedback that we're creating from parents, LEAs, TEDs, IEAC, and everyone. So we're going to be informing them, giving them information they need, and then kind of asking what the tribal leaders would like to see come out of OIE to better assist their needs for their people. So it's going to be kind of a different format than everyone else. But it's good work, it's long work. And I think the most important thing I can tell you is that due to this feedback, overwhelming feedback, that it's looking like the Office of Indian Education is going to go back and start doing annual engagement activities to check in with all the different stakeholders. And it's exciting to be a process of that, to be part of that process.
All right.
I'll take questions.
Does anybody have any questions about the updates that were provided?
Is there a summary of what was discussed at that Saturday meeting?
Not yet. We are pulling that together for the tribal leaders, but all of those things will be folded in, right? I should have mentioned this from the beginning, and I'm really sorry. It's a draft strategic plan. We're really looking at folding in everyone's input into a final strategic plan that will be revised on an annual basis. But that's a great question, Katie, and I look forward to seeing what the Office of Indian Ed is going to do with all that.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you, ladies, for that update. Again, we're doing phenomenal work with the Office of Indian Education, and it's exciting to see all the progress that's being done and being made, and the future progress that's going to happen. And so we'll send out those updates, what Lynn Ann mentioned with the position opening, so that way you can have that as well. So with that, we'll move on in our agenda. And the next item is our program share out. And this is a time where we allow everybody on the call to share out any events or things that are going on with your program and you would like to share out to our AIEA membership. So I'll start off and then we'll just go down the line for anybody who wants to share out anything. With our Amphitheater Public School District, with our Native American Education Program, we've had a lot of events for this final into our first semester. This week has been a very busy week for us. We had our Navajo Blue Corn Mush workshop that was provided. We collaborated with the Raytheon American Indian Network with RAIN, and they presented a workshop on the cultural significance of the blue corn mush and how it's utilized and why it's used that way and how it's made. And the recipe was shared with our parents, and then we all had a chance to make it. Of course, this was virtual, so everybody was in their kitchen. Our pictures are with all of our parents in the kitchens in the background. But it was really a nice event that we had, and that was earlier this week. But Latanya Go was the one who did our presentation for us, and she always does a great job for our program. And with the RAIN, they've always been a part of our NAE program here in Tucson with MPI. And so with that, we had our family winter gathering, which is our Christmas. It symbolizes what the Christmas program would normally be and other programs, but for our program, we specifically call it the family winter gathering. And so it's a time where we can come together and bring our families together. And because we met virtually, we had a winter storytelling time. So last night we had our parents and our committee members to come together, and we gave out great prizes, and we had a drawing that we provided to all of our parents. And so parents are picking up their prizes today before the end of the semester. And so that's what's going on with our program. We are providing cultural videos for our parents and students because we're not able to meet in person, but we still want them to get that cultural education provided to them as well. And so with that, that's what's going on with Amphitheater, and I'll just open it up to whoever wants to share out. And if you need to leave, we understand. So thank you for being here and joining us.
Well, this is Katie again. I can share what's going on up in our area. We are currently moving into our phase 1. We've had our numbers in the community have kind of been going higher again. And so our schools will be all virtual beginning after the winter break. So with that, we just recently had our winter activities suspended. We were planning to have winter sports, but a lot of the schools have pulled out from our region. So their next option is to wait until spring to open up for school sports. One good thing that, I did hear from the schools is that they are doing social clubs for the students, because right now they said, everything they're doing is online, everything, is in their own homes. We are currently in a 4-day lockdown, so no one can leave our homes right now. So in times like this, the students spoke about how, you know, they're missing seeing one another. They're missing socializing with one another. So, you know, of course they have their cell phones and, you know, their other social media, but, you know, having a large portion of that usually happened at school, you know, while they were with all of their other classmates. So King and Day Junior High has started sponsoring like little winter chat groups. So they have an Apache craft making class on this end. They have Christmas crafts on this end. And so, you know, that's kind of opened up a place where, you know, they're going to even have a virtual winter dance. But it's really interesting, you know, that they are reaching out to the needs of what the students wanted. And with that, the high school is going to be holding a Jacks tournament. So this is kind of going back to, you know, who remembers playing Jacks, you know, so the high school is going to give out little Jacks packages if you sign up for the tournament, and they will be following them along virtually, of course, and just these different unique opportunities are popping up, and they're really interesting. I like what the students are doing and getting involved to help, you know, just alleviate a lot of the social pressures, and I give them a lot of credit for that. So something good happening up here.
Thank you, Katie. We appreciate that. Sounds like you guys are busy and trying to get back into making things happen for your students in your community. So I know a lot of us are in the same situation. So thank you for sharing that out. Anybody else want to share?
I guess this is Lynn Ann. I can share really quickly from our program, well, in our district. So I'm with Phoenix Union. We're at 21 high schools right now within our district. And we have been virtual this entire time since spring break, basically, which was back in March. And we have not returned in person, with the exception of Tuesdays having very small groups of students, you know, come in and do things like labs, a lot of the hands-on, you know, course engagements. However, limiting the groups to under 10, and so still very minimal number of students that were on campuses. Of course, we did open up our campuses for those students who needed, you know, in-person assistance, or even just needed, you know, wanted to work on a computer and just change of scenery from their homes. And so we have done that. The plan is to continue to be virtual or start in January again in the virtual format, with the goal of bringing staff back in mid to late January. And then, you know, depending on the numbers, depending on the data, bringing students back in February sometime. And so that's what we're looking at right now as a district. We're also an exciting piece of news. I have 2 courses that are going before the board next month to be approved, to be put into our course catalog. One of those is Navajo government. As you know, or as you may or may not know, that is a requirement, you know, through Navajo Nation for the Chief Manuelito Scholarship is taking Navajo language classes and taking Navajo government. So that is going for approval to the school board or to the governing board next month. Another course that is also going in front of the school board is English. For us, it's English 7/8, which is senior year English, which is going to be, I believe it's American literature with an emphasis with American literature from the Native American perspective. And so they're going to have from the Chicanx perspective, African American perspective, and Native American perspective. And so those courses, considering being more culturally responsive, a commitment that our district is making. And so those are two exciting developments. Hopefully I'll come back in January and say that those courses have been approved. So at this point, that is pretty much what's happening with our program. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Anybody else?
Hello, this is Esther. Is there a moment? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Esther.
Oh, okay. I wasn't too sure. I've been having issues with my stuff, but it doesn't matter. Well, good news going on with Mesa Public Schools. Well, Native American Education Program. A lot of our programs that all were in person have gone virtual. One that this year was our Speed Drunk Crew. Our first month we had 17 students participating. We are currently now at 92 students, which is excellent. So we've broken them up into two groups. We have our younger grades, pre-K to 6th, and then 7th through 12th. They RSVP. We do curbside pickup. We do curbside pickup once a month, and then they get all of the items that they need, and then the meetings are scheduled throughout the month virtually, which has worked really well. Our family culture night, out of this COVID and doing things virtually, we were able to host more students than when we did in person. So that is a benefit that is coming to us being virtual, because our room we've maxed our room. If we were in person, we would have maxed our room by now. And then so we would have to do it differently. But it's an added benefit. So I just like to share that piece. For our Steam Jump crew, we did receive a grant from a pharmaceutical company, so we will continue this next semester as well. As for our family culture night, there were so many RSVPs, and the NAEP, the Native American Education Program staff here. I just have to give a shout out for those who are in the trenches working, gathering these items. I hear that you guys are doing stuff virtual too, getting these baggies together. It takes a lot of work. So we definitely need to recognize those people who are hands-on and doing that work. So, fill out for the awards ceremonies, get them nominated. What else? Let's see. We have been in person. The parents did have a choice whether to have their students stay remote or in person. And so we have a higher percentage of Native American students who are working remotely. And so because of that, they have taken our Wednesdays and made them all remote days. And that is the time for teachers, our avid tutors, and different other program tutors to get online during that time to support our students virtually, and those who are in person as well, but they can also log in remotely that time for extra support. At one of our high schools, Westwood High School, which holds almost 400 Native American students in one school, they just gave us a new classroom that was all prepared. We had a soft opening. All they had to do, instead of coming in and hanging out and doing things, all they had to do was check in, sign their name, their student ID, and they were entered into a drawing just to know where that new classroom was. Those who are remote were able to ask a couple questions, come online and see the classroom. When we come back from our break, we will be doing 2 weeks remotely, and then we'll see what happens with our numbers after that. So even with the COVID, we're trying our best to keep our kids learning, but we do know a lot of our students are falling behind, but we just need to remember to be supportive and tell them that they're resilient, that they can get through this time, and that there is going to be a shining beacon at the end of this tunnel. So just keep it up. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Esther. It's always exciting to see all the activities, the many activities that you do in your program, and the wonderful support that you receive as well. So great to hear that all the exciting events that you've been doing. So, is there anybody else who would like to share anything out? Okay, so with that, I do want to mention that we do have a question and answer session for those who have any questions about the upcoming winter camp. And Jerry's going to provide a question and answer session for those who are interested in staying on the line after the meeting. But I also want to acknowledge December 21st. So for those, for a lot of our Native and Indigenous communities, this is a sacred time for our people. December 21st is the winter solstice time, and it's a time where a lot of our Indigenous peoples look at it as a time of rebirth, renewal, rejuvenation, and a time to give that honor and respect to Mother Earth. And so I just want to acknowledge that that will be coming up. With that, there is a um, I'm trying to find maybe astrological event. I'm trying to think if that's the word I want to use for that. Um, that there's going to be the planets Jupiter and Saturn are going to come together and be look like a very bright star. And in my Pawnee side, for my Pawnee people, that's where we come from, or that's what I've been told on, where our people come from, is that we come from the stars, that we're star people. And so that's a very significant time for my Pawnee side. And so during the winter solstice time, as I mentioned, there's a lot of ceremonies that will be taking place for the traditionalists, and a lot of prayers that are going down or going up for a lot of our people to continue to watch over and protect our communities at all times. And on my Caddo side, with these two tribes are on my mother's side, and on my Caddo side were mound builders. And it is said that one of the mounds that was created is in the form of a snake. And as the spiral mounds is what my Caddo people are known for. And on one of the mounds in Ohio, there's a form of a mound that stretches out. And what that signifies is the summer solstice time during when we look at that and view that particular mound. And let's see, I'm trying to get to where I wanted to share out what it is. It's called the Serpent Mound. And let me try and find it here. And I just wanted to share on when it happens during the summer and the winter solstices, this is why it's important for my Caddo people, as that mound specifically stretches nearly a quarter of a mile, and it is in the form, as I mentioned, of an uncoiling serpent or uncoiling snake-like being. The serpent's head is aligned to the sunset during the summer solstice, and the coils and the tail, the back end of it, are believed to be the point to the sunrise on the days of the winter solstice and the equinoxes. And so a lot of our indigenous traditions and cultures and beliefs are based around the environment and nature itself. And so I just wanted to acknowledge, for our indigenous peoples, that December 21st is coming up. And so that's going to be a very sacred time for us. And just want to give reverence to our ceremonies during that time, as we get that rejuvenation and that renewal for the upcoming year. And so that kind of goes in line with what we're doing for our winter camp, rejuvenating our land. And so it's just a right time about when we can talk about that and share that out with our students who will be participating in that time. So I just wanted to acknowledge that very quickly and give homage to those, to Mother Earth, and for taking care of us, and in the sense that we take care of her as well. So is there any other share outs that anybody would like to provide? before we close?
I have a question, quick, Kimberly.
Sure.
I know, so membership applications, I think, are due annually for AEI, American Indian Education Association. Do we need to put a new application in annually or just pay the fee annually?
We ask that the application be done annually. That's just if there's any updates or any changes that come about. But yeah, we do request that that be done annually, and it's updated every year. I think for the most part over the past few years, we've just changed the date on that. And that's just so we can have those files in our office, our headquarters there at ITCA for documentation purposes for the membership that we provide, because it is a part of our nonprofit status. So
And
yes, John.
The forms are on the website, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right, well, again, we are having a question and answer session after this general meeting. And so with that, Jerry, can we move on to the next item, I believe, which is our adjournment. And our next meeting will be January 15th. Again, we sent out the calendar for our general meetings. Currently, we have it set for every third Friday of every month. So if you want to just mark your calendars for every third Friday from this point out, if you would like to join us during those times. Meetings always start at 11, from 11 to 1 o'clock. If we have any workshops or PD professional development afterwards, we'll include that in the agenda and give you a notice ahead of time. Since we are meeting virtually, the Zoom meeting information will always remain the same. So if you want to include that on your calendars as well, the Zoom meeting web link, the meeting number, and the meeting password always remain the same. And so it will, I'm reading Jerry's comment. Sorry, Jerry, that's fine. But that always remains the same for every meeting every month. And so again, if we aren't going to be meeting, we'll let you know. Currently, right now, the only time we're not meeting will be in July. That's usually our time for our membership drive. And also during the time we usually hold our summer youth camp during that time. So just keep that in mind, that it's every third Friday of every month that we hold our general meetings. And so, all right, so if there is no other questions or comments or share outs, then I want to say to everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and may you and your families remain well and safe through this season. And I know a lot of us are sharing it a little bit different this year, but always know that family is important. We always, just that love that we have for each other and that we are together. Even if it's not in person, we know that that love is still there provided for each of us. And so thank you again for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you next month. And with that, I would like to call for an adjournment of this general meeting.
This is Lynanne. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All right, is there a second? Is there any discussion? So with that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, all those opposed? Of course not. And abstain, and motion carried. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Again, we are going to have our question and answer session, so those who would like to remain on the line, we'll get started shortly.
Thank you, Kimberly. Take care, everyone.
Hi, John.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Lynn. Bye, Jerry. Bye, Katie. Bye, Kim. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Bye.
holidays, everybody.
Kim, I have a couple of questions for you regarding the intern paperwork. Did you get my email about that?
I did get your email, and I'm fine with signing off on it. And as we mentioned, either, well, both you and Jerry could be the supervisor
Okay.
for that.
Should I use ITCA's address?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I needed to know. I'm going to complete that form today, probably within the next hour, and then I'll send it to you. And if you can just sign off on it, that would be great.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lynn Ann.
Mhm.